I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell, and I want to thank you for taking the time to watch my videos. This video I want to do just a quick analysis of a section called Society in Transition, which I think is apropos, in Paulo Freire's Education for Critical Consciousness. This section talks about sort of the concepts of a society in transition, and I've been looking into various theoretical accounts that will help me make sense of the occupation movement. So this is a combination of Paulo Freire's Education for Critical Consciousness and the current social climate in the United States. I think this is a great little section. He says, "But the climate of hope is adversely affected by the impact of sectarianism, which arises as the split in the closed society leads to the phenomenon Mannheim has called fundamental democratization. This democratization, opening like a fan into independent dimensions, economic, social, political, and cultural, characterized the unprecedented participating presence of the Brazilian people in the phase of transition, the transition of society. And this transition, social transition, affects economic, social, political, and cultural climates. During the phase of the closed society, the people are submerged in reality. As that society breaks open, they emerge, right? So the people are, in a sense, enclosed by the oppressive hand, if you will. And he says, as that society breaks open, people emerge. No longer mere spectators. They uncross their arms, renounce expectancy, and demand intervention." I'll read that again. As that society breaks open, they, the people, emerge. No longer mere spectators, no longer people on the sidelines watching. They uncross their arms, renounce expectancy, and demand intervention. No longer satisfied to watch, they want to participate. This participation disturbs the privileged elite. This participation disturbs the privileged elite who band together in self-defense. If this is not exactly what is occurring in the occupation movement, then I don't know what is. I highly recommend, there's a little bit more I want to read, but I highly recommend, if you don't have Paulo Freire's Education for Critical Consciousness, you need to go buy 2 copies. So definitely go get this book. What Freire is saying with respect to a conceptual account of what's occurring now throughout the United States of America it's profound. At first, the elite react spontaneously. Later, perceiving more clearly the threat involved in the awakening of popular consciousness, they organize. They bring forth a group of crisis theoreticians. The new cultural climate is usually labeled a crisis. The occupation is possibly, not yet, entering a crisis phase. Insofar as it's labeled as a crisis, you recognize who applies the label crisis to the movement. Those of elite status, privileged elite status. This is according to Paulo Freire. They bring forth a group of crisis theoreticians. The new cultural climate is usually labeled a crisis. They create social assistance institutions and armies of social workers, and in the name of a supposedly threatened freedom, they repel the participation of the people. Right? The elite defend a sui generis democracy in which the people are unwell and require medicine, whereas, in fact, their ailment is the wish to speak up and participate. Their affliction, their disease, their sickness, what is it? Their ailment is the wish to speak up and participate, to unfold their arms and to participate becomes the ailment. Each time the people try to express themselves freely and to act, it is a sign that they continue to be ill and thus need more medicine. The medicine obviously being silence. In this strange interpretation of democracy, health is synonymous with popular silence and inaction. I'll say that again. In this strange interpretation of democracy, health is synonymous with popular silence and inaction. The defenders of this democracy speak often of the need to protect the people from what they call foreign ideologies. That is, anything that could contribute to the active presence of the people in their own historical process. Similarly, they label the subversives all those who enter into the dynamics of the transition, the social transition and transformation, and become its representatives. These people are subversive, we are told, because they threaten order. Yesterday in my lecture on Nietzsche's Will to Power, I talked about the relationship of social order and homogeneity, and that homogeneity is precisely put into place and acted in order to defend social order. If you look at what Freire is saying in this section on society in transition, he is saying that the process of unfolding your arms and activating, no longer being on the sidelines, no longer being a spectator, taking to the streets, having a voice, saying what you need to say in order so that you are heard, is a threat to the established elite. What happens then is that the theoreticians of crisis management are sent in and they label those participants as subversives that are responsible for creating this crisis. Similarly, they label as subversives all those who enter into the dynamics of the transition and become its representatives. These people are subversive, we are told, because they threaten order. Actually, the elite have no alternative. As the dominant social class, they must preserve at all costs the social order in which they are dominant. They cannot permit any basic changes which would affect their control over decision making. So, from their point of view, every effort to supersede such an order means subvert it criminally. So, that's what I wanted to read. This comes out of Paulo Freire's Education for Critical Consciousness. It is a section on society in transition. And what I wanted to do is to allow you to make sense of the passage itself. I'll see if I can find the passage online, and I'll copy and paste a link of, hopefully, the bit that I just read so that you can read it yourself. And I want you to just think about the role of the occupation movement from a theoretical aspect, right? You cannot have this movement develop or affect any significant change if it's just all emotional. There has to be a rational, intellectual approach to identifying demands and needs, and getting society in a position where people can actually have their voices be heard. This is nothing new. What's happening now isn't new. This is an old story. Society in transition is an old story. The institution of orthodoxy establishes homogeneous mechanisms in order to create and maintain social order. And individuals who challenge that social order are labeled as subversives. This isn't anything that I'm saying. I haven't contributed one thing new. All I'm doing is I'm pointing your attention in your direction to the source. And it's in books. And you're not going to be able to make sense of your demands and what you want and the needs that you need to have met without accessing this information from the source. So, pause the video. Well, this is the end of the video. After this video ends, go to Amazon, buy 3 copies of Paulo Freire's Education for Critical Consciousness, the lecture series on Nietzsche from the last series spoke specifically on communal morality, and try and make sense of what your needs are if you are a participant, and read Freire. He'll guide you along the way. So with that, I just wanted to put that out into cyberspace. Thanks for watching my videos. I'm Dr. Jason J. Campbell. Have a good day.